Welcome to the favorites presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. We are an Action Network podcast. Your favorite trio is back. I'm Brandon Kravitz, joined by the sharpest sharps that money can buy, Stuckey and Kendra Middleton. A very exuberant Kendra Middleton after that Jags win last night. On today's episode, we've got our plant the flag games for week 6, a breakdown of the top storylines, and of course, the main event, Evans Tuesday primer. What a weekend it was. Week 5 in the books. A little up and down for the crew. The parlay picks, the newly named 2 kings and a queen parlay went 1 and 2, but we press on to week 6. The Jags, of course, pull off what looked to be an improbable win. Trevor Lawrence laying on the ground down by the goal line, pops himself back up, heroic run into the end zone, and they trip their way into victory. I can only imagine what the scene at the Middleton household looked like last night as Trevor Lawrence is bumbling his way into the end zone.
I have so many thoughts. I don't even know where to begin. What an emotional roller coaster this was from start to finish for me and my entire household of pets. I was screaming. I think I was crying. My dog somehow slept through me screaming at my TV and like the whole game. Literally, I posted a picture of him just passed out, not a thought in the world as I'm running around losing my mind. The ups and downs of the Trevor Lawrence experience is going to give me premature gray hair. I'm surprised it has not caused me alcoholism. I don't even know where to start. The delay of game penalties were insane. Devin Lloyd, the turnaround for him is absolutely unbelievable. The fact that they overcame some injuries last night. What a night from Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball. I don't even know where to start. I have so many thoughts, but Trevor Lawrence, when he runs, looks like a wounded baby deer that was born last Thursday. I swear to God, I have so many thoughts about this game. I am shook. The refs also, I don't even, what are you guys' big 3 takeaways?
Because can we get the Jags had,
oh, come on.
The Chiefs
Get
had more
off your knees.
The Chiefs had more penalty yards than the Jags did last night, and the Jags won the game. Let's get off the officials. Stuckey, what was your biggest takeaway from last night?
Kendra, I told you, the Jags are going to win and cover. You weren't as confident as I was. This is a Jags podcast.
They've hurt
I
me.
love the Jags. I love the Jags coming to the year. I still love the Jags with my Ravens in shambles. I'm now Jags fan for the time being. Temporary Jags fan. So yeah, it's crazy that if the playoffs ended today, who would have thought that the Jags and Colts matchups in December are going to determine AFC supremacy? But yeah, I thought
they're going to get moved to prime time, which is hilarious.
Jags are going to be a prime time. When's the last time you saw the Jags win on Monday Night Football? I don't even know how long it was.
Oh my God, it's been like the better part of a decade. It has to be. I know that they talked about it last night, but I don't remember when it was. The last time I saw the Jags win in primetime was the Chargers game, but I was at that game.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time they went on Monday Night Football, but Devin Lloyd, amazing. He's playing at all pro level. Got to be in the defensive player of the year conversation, at least as of right now.
For sure.
And I thought Trevor Lawrence had the best drive of his career at the end. He made that throw on third down the sidelines to Thomas was unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, Liam Cohen's coaching, the defensive coaching, it's all the special teams have been rock solid all year. The Jags were great in all 3 phases, and yeah, they did have some injuries. I did think the Chiefs offense, like I was like, all right, I need to see more because the Ravens defense was so banged up, but the Chiefs offense did look a lot better. I mean, they had like a 64% success rate, which I think was the highest of the year for any team. So there's a lot of juice in that Chiefs offense. And especially once they get Rashee Rice back, Butker might be washed. You could argue he's cost the Chiefs
he is this year. Thank God.
He's missed a kick every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kickoff out of bounds was massive.
Yeah, that was what led the Jags to be able to get ahead last night was that he kicked the kickoff out of bounds. And you know what? Whatever. Screw him. The thing that for me that makes me feel a little bit better is I don't know if the Bible says like thou shalt not let Brenton Strange tush push you or something because Trevor Lawrence is scared of letting him touch his butt. But had they done the tush push and not gone over the top on that, it would have been a two score game for them. Like I don't know how they learned that lesson.
Because Strange was right behind him, so you got to do a normal. I mean, he was an inch away from getting in, but you just got to do a normal, regular
Let a man
seat.
touch your ass. Get over
And
it.
yeah, that almost I'm shocked that they were able to overcome that. Lloyd helped because they stole a possession. But the old Jags, I tweeted this out. The old Jags would have folded when they were down 14
100%.
nothing, and the old Jags. I mean, I'm talking like of the last couple of years had no resiliency. And once they went down 14 nothing, it would have been lights out. But the defense got a stop at the end of the first half and then a stop to start the second half, which was just massive because the game could have slipped away. And then they stole that possession back to make up for the Lawrence goal line fumble with a goal line pick that Lloyd took 99 the other way. So yeah, I think the Jags are legit. And you're right, Hunter. If you look at I mean, if you just take PFF, you look at the five highest graded players of
He
last
was
night.
both offense
Yeah,
and
it's Hunter
defense.
as a receiver and Hunter as a D-backer in the top five, and uh, he made some great plays on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I think the Jags are legit, and they easily could be 5-0 if they didn't melt down versus Jake Browning, and the Chiefs
Undefeated
have a
at
big
home.
game this week.
Yeah, and I believe in the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are still a good team, but this is what the schedule will do to you if you're too good for too long. Eventually, the NFL will make it an impossible, treacherous gauntlet for you. The Chiefs, no rest for the weary. Another primetime game at home against the Detroit Lions. So even if they play well, like they played well last night, they can play well on Sunday night, and they could still lose that one too. And here you are looking at a Chiefs team that right now, outside looking in terms of the playoffs, real
0 and
quick.
3 in one score games after 10-0 last year. So
And that's the
regression
thing, like
came a
that
bit.
exactly. The regression is going to get you. I feel like when we take a closer look at the luck rankings, that the Jags are going to be bumped up a little bit based on Devin Lloyd going across the field for a touchdown and some of the turnover worthy plays that Trevor Lawrence had, the weird fall down touchdown he had at the end.
Oh
There were a
my
lot of
God.
things that broke Jacksonville's way in this game in
I
order for
get
them to get
knocked
a win.
down, but I get up again.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think it was just a back and forth game. I mean, like you could argue the Chiefs, look, that they had an interception on a 20-yard touchdown drive that was because of pass interference. The offensive pass interference was questionable. The Jags, fumbled at the one. So I think there was both teams had things go for them and against them. I don't think it was terribly lucky. I mean, that was just one of those games where whoever had the ball last felt like was going to win. So yeah, obviously a one score win for the Jags, but I don't think it was terribly lucky. There are some injuries to note, like they had some offensive line injuries. Strange got hurt, so there's some things to note. But
Anton
we'll see.
Harrison too, but he came back
Yeah,
in.
yeah, Anton Harrison, he was in and out, so we'll see. They get,
Finally hitting a peak for him though, so hopefully he's okay.
yeah, he's looked.
No Trayvon Walker is the story of this game though.
Yes, they couldn't get pressure. You could just tell how much they missed him because they were incapable of generating any pressure naturally. Because it's just, hey, you have to worry about Allen, and if you just have to worry about Allen, you can slide protection, you can help, but if you have Allen and Walker, they become so much more difficult to contain both. But yeah, he was definitely missed. So we'll see. The Seahawks also have a ton of injuries. The main ones to keep an eye on there, which we'll talk about later in the week, are in the secondary. I mean, the Seahawks came into the Bucks game hurt in the secondary and then lost more guys in the secondary, and they were down. They were decimated by the end of that game. So definitely, there's a lot of injury games this week. A lot of
Here's
injuries to keep track of.
yeah, here's my thing with this for our podcast Jags though. They play Seattle this week at home, and then technically I do think that they'll wind up losing the Seattle game. I said that on our Sunday show, just because that would be the most Jacksonville Jaguars thing ever to beat the Chiefs in prime time and then turn around and lose to the Seattle Seahawks. Just because I've watched this team for long enough, that's the vibe that I get from them. But the issue with continuing to bet them that people need to pay attention to, they don't have another home game, I think, until November 9th, technically after Seattle, because you can claim the London game as a home game. It might help them that obviously they've gone through that schedule before, like the going overseas, yada, yada. They have like kind of a routine about it at this point. But they have Seattle at home, go to London, bye week, 2 away games. So that's, a lot of time not really spent in your home stadium when you're an undefeated team. It's a long time to not have a home game. So that's the only thing that I would keep in mind if you want to bet on the Jags. I personally am going to stay away from them with Seattle just because it feels like a Seattle spot. And then LA, obviously, they're a good team and it's technically a neutral game, even though I'm sure there's going to be more Jags fans. But after, like, they don't have another home game until November 9th. That's a long time.
You have
Yeah, the
Seattle with the
Jags.
cross country travel, Jacksonville in the short week. I feel like those two kind of nullify each other. It's a really even matchup. I think this is going to be a tough one to find a side that we're in love with in this game.
Yeah, injuries to keep an eye on for we mentioned the Jags ones, but just to throw the names out there for Seattle. I mean, they were without, by the end of that game, they were without 3 starters in the secondary. Witherspoon, Love, Woolen were all hurt, and then DeMarcus Lawrence as well. So the Seahawks defense, especially on the back end, and then you're missing one of your best edge rushers. Definitely, it was a kind of a shell unit by the end of that Bucks game. So that's something to keep an eye on there for the injuries. But yeah, I mean the Jags they're gonna be in the mix for this division, the playoff spot, all the way to the end. So and their schedule. When you look at it, it's
This is
after
the gauntlet piece of it. This, like,
yeah,
until like they
Seattle
have
and
their bye week.
Rams neutral, then bye. That's a tough stretch. But you have Vegas,
Yep.
Texans, Chargers at home, Cardinals, Titans, Jets.
Yep.
The Titans again, and then the two matchups with the Colts, which as of right now, it looks like those two could decide the division.
Cohen could pass Gus Bradley in wins as a Jaguars head coach before the season even ends.
Pour one out for Gus.
Well, okay, here's the other thing though, like with Seattle, we can move on from this in a second. The only other thing that I would say we kind of maybe have to consider is what's going on with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. Like, who is their lead back there? That whole situation confuses me too. But other than that, I'm happy. I'll take the dub. This was the gauntlet piece of the schedule. I'm jagging off.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
hey, Gifford.
yeah, group jag off here. I feel like we've banked on the Jags. You don't want to get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Maybe take the week off. We did have some injuries this week, as we always do. As Stuckey mentioned, there's a lot of little items throughout the league to pay attention to. Amarion Hampton went down with the Chargers. He looks like he's going to be out multiple weeks. Antonio Gibson with the Patriots is done for the year. I mean, those are just some of the little ones. But I think the most impactful in terms of a singular injury, not these clusters that we're talking about, Spencer Schrader of the Colts. The Colts have been dynamite this year, and their kicker has been awesome. 13 of 14 in field goal attempts. He's made all of his extra points. How much, Stuckey, would you downgrade Indianapolis without their kicker? Because we don't know who they're going to go and pick up off the street.
No, I mean, not at all. But I mean, he's still a kicker. We'll see who they get. It's like noteworthy, but at the end of the day, it's still a kicker, and it's not. And Trader's been good this year, but it's not like he's prime. Justin Tucker has proven it over years and years. My my biggest concern injury wise is the the Chargers offensive line. Like and maybe Miami can't take advantage of it, but the last 2 weeks against the Giants and Washington, the Chargers offense has been completely dysfunctional because they cannot block anybody. And they suffered more. Obviously you lose both your tackles, but now your guards have been hurt. One of your backup tackles was hurt last week that is now forced to start. Their offensive line is a disaster, and it's ruining the entire offense. And now you have no backs. Your top two backs are done. So the Chargers' offensive injuries are potentially devastating. Now, that's the matchup of the week for me. Like, okay, you have this Chargers, their backup running backs. You have all these offensive line injuries going up against the Dolphins defense that isn't generating pressure and just gave up 210 yards to Rico Dowdle and backup offensive lineman on the Panthers. So what gives? I don't know. I know Kendra, I think likes the Chargers. And the Dolphins just might be a dead man walking. But yeah, the that just might derail the Chargers season looking long term if is that offensive line because the last 2 weeks their offense has just been completely dysfunctional.
Yeah, the
I was
Dolphins
doing
just
some
can't get pressure.
No, I was doing some research and it looks like the options for the Colts are going to be, I think, Greg Zuerlein or Dustin Hopkins because Eddie Pinheiro got signed, obviously, by the 49ers.
Oh,
Other
Greg the leg, I'll downgrade them a touchdown after what I saw with him in New York
This is what
on the
I'm
last
saying. I
drive.
mean, I get that it's a kicker. The Colts overall, this isn't just kicking, but overall, PFF grade has them as the fifth best special teams unit in the NFL, and everything is working well for them. Without one of those key components to special teams, it does feel like it's a hit that you don't realize is a hit until you need it. And we'll see who they end up filling that gap with.
We think their
I feel
punter could kick?
I don't
Like,
know. I mean, I don't know who those fill-in options would be or how confident I should be in
No,
them.
Sanchez can't kick, apparently. I mean, and they weren't even attempting to do it in the game against the Raiders. Like they were just going for it every time on 2 point conversions. And that was in a blowout. So you would think that like if he was able to kick, that would be a perfect time to
the
try.
MLS season's about to end.
There you go. Just
Go find an MLS player.
grab a golden boot. But the Dolphins, it should be that I mean the Dolphins catching points at home with a team traveling from the West Coast does feel like okay. And the Dolphins, the last time the Dolphins played the Chargers, this was a couple of years ago now. I think it was to his best game of his career, over 400 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. There's something about this team. Maybe it's the Justin Herbert same draft class thing that gets him going, but I just can't back Miami because it feels like every time they lose, the bottom's about to fall out. And I hate being on a team that quits on their coach. And it feels like we are moments away from that happening in Miami, especially with the way they had no business losing that game to Carolina.
I want nothing to do with the Dolphins this week. Even though the Chargers are injured, it feels like their season's insane and their division's really tough. You cannot and will not get me to back the Dolphins in this spot. I can't. I don't know if you guys watched McDaniel's press conference after this game. I don't even,
He
it
looks
feels like
lost.
oh my God, the things that he's saying just don't even make sense. He wants to go be a coordinator somewhere. He's done. I think he's given up. This team with the injuries has and just the team in general, I think has killed this man. He's not been the same since Tua got hurt for the second time. Like it's over. It's done. Wrap it up. I wouldn't be surprised if this team just goes belly up regardless of whatever's going on with this Chargers team. Can't do it.
Oh, by the way, Colts kicker. Look, the Colts stole the Ravens team once overnight. Maybe week 10, Justin Tucker. I mean,
But
he's
Tucker's
suspended
kind of
until week
washed
10.
too.
He's washed and you cannot
Yeah, but
bring
he's better than Greg Zuerlein.
Yeah, but what if he's in jail by then?
I don't know. No, I'm just throwing it out there. It would be funny if the Colts ended up taking
I had that thought too, but I don't think that you can jeopardize the camaraderie that you have in your locker room right now with a guy who has like multiple cases. Like that's not it would be funny. And I thought the same thought crossed my mind just because it's probably an option, but I don't think you can have the bad press and all of that, the stuff that comes with it and mess up this weird mojo that you've got going on.
Yeah, the Colts are a vibe right now. Don't ruin that.
Aura.
A little bit of Danny Dimes aura. We're about to run through our ATS standings report, but first, a word from yours truly as we chat about our great friends at DraftKings. The Favorites is sponsored by DraftKings, and in partnership with DraftKings, we'd like to tell you the next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. That's right, new customers turn $5 into $200 if your bet wins, paid instantly in bonus bets. To get started, use the promo code FAVORITES when signing up. Once more, that's code FAVORITES at DraftKings when signing up to get on board. The crown is yours. ATS standings report. The Lions, Colts, Jags. As we know, this is a Jags podcast. We were having a Jags slumber party last night. All 4-1 ATS on the season. Last week's ATS demon that we faded was the Eagles. That paid off. Broncos come back and win and cover and all of that. Does anyone want to stand opposed to the teams right now that are cashing tickets left and right? You get the Lions at Kansas City, the Colts at home against Arizona, or the Jaguars at home against the Seattle Seahawks. We already sort of dismissed that one, but feel free to save this in your back pocket if it's a plant your flag game. But Stuckey, are you fading the Lions or the Colts this week?
Yeah, I gotta dig into the Cardinals have a ton of injuries. The Colts are fairly healthy. You have Alec Pierce, Grover Stewart, who matters to the run D a lot, got banged up. Then you have Kenny Moore. He's really important, especially since his backup, who they signed, also got hurt. So there's some injuries there. I got to figure out where this line is getting a little too high for me. I mean, but I got to figure out where the Cardinals are at mentally, and they have a lot of injuries on both sides of the ball. But like, how do they respond to that game? With everything that went down,
That was
I don't know.
awesome.
It's
It
but
saved my ass.
And by the way, the Titans, meanwhile, break out of solitary confinement. So congrats to the Titans for covering a spread.
Yeah, I mean, they had no business copy. They were about to be down 28-6, so they don't drop.
It was
That was one of
awesome.
the flukiest wins I've ever seen. But I might fade the Lions if I had to choose with the Chiefs. Like I said, the Chiefs offense, I believe in it. After what I saw last week or last night, and then the week before, I had some doubts because they played the Ravens. The Ravens right now are the worst team in the NFL, and the Lions have what they have one of the worst strength of victories in the NFL right now. So yeah, they've been winning, but you look back, they beat the Bears, who were without half their starters on defense, and that was in Detroit. They beat the Ravens, who I just told you all their injury. I mean, look at the Ravens have been in their defense over the past few weeks. That the most hurt team in the NFL. They beat Joe Flacco and the Browns at home, and then they beat Jake Browning, who threw basically gifted them the game in the first half with 4 short fields and 3 interceptions, and could not hit an open receiver to save his life. So, yeah, the Lions have won and covered 4 straight, but if you dig a little deeper, it's like, okay, who did it really come against? So I do think the Chiefs should be able to move the ball at will. The Lions offense will have success here too, but backs against the wall at home, I think I might trust the Chiefs here to get it done.
The Lions are a tough team to fade every week. Evan Abrams shares the numbers on what Goff and Campbell have done. Over 70% against the spread. This year, they're over 80% against the spread, but I think Stuckey's right. This feels like a buy low Kansas City Chiefs spot when, I mean, he detailed it. Bears, Ravens, Browns, Bengals. Is that really that impressive? And they have blown
And
these
think about all the
teams out.
injuries too on those teams.
Exactly. So they're a little
I
bit
don't
bloated
know.
right now. As great as
I
they
don't
are,
know.
this is a week to fade them. I think I'm going to end up on Kansas City.
That's
Will Chris
crazy on a
Jones
short
try?
week.
That's the question.
That's a great point. My thing is, it's hard because it's a short week for the Chiefs, but you can almost get me to think I can't fade the Colts just because they don't even have like a look ahead angle, but the like meat of the Lions schedule is about to happen. You can't ever count out a Chiefs team, but they've got Bucks. The Vikings, I think, are better than they've looked the last couple of weeks. Commanders, obviously, you can't count them out. Eagles, and like the rest of they have a tough remaining schedule. That's like the hard part for me on getting to the window on the Lions. I think that they beat the Chiefs probably by a field goal. So I would probably like this number if it stays the same by the time we have more information on injury reports on Thursday. But I can't fade the Colts. Their schedule is too easy. If I have to pick gun to my head type of situation, it would probably be the Lions, but I still don't think they lose to this version of the Chiefs that we have right now is currently constructed. It's more so if I had to pick, it's the potential of a look ahead of the schedule that they have over the next couple of weeks. And I don't like either position.
The percentages are overwhelming, and it is early. I like to read into this stuff, but more so later in the week, the closer we get to kickoff. 73% of the bets, 88% of the money on the Detroit Lions as it stands right now. Now, this, Stuckey, is where your bread is really buttered. The ATS Jailbirds, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Ravens, 1-4 against the spread. You've got teams off blowouts. The Ravens got blown out. The Raiders got blown out. The Jets, the Giants. Are any of these teams buy lows for you as we enter week 6? Buy super low.
Yeah, I mean the Jets, it's hard to back the Jets right now, but this is the low point of the Jets. The Broncos, so like over a touchdown, I could only look at the Jets like I make it 6. So the problem is if the Jets get behind in that game, like they have no recourse. They have no recourse playing from behind. And they've had just some sad efforts. I mean, that was an incredibly sad effort. 0-4. You're getting the Cowboys in a great spot. They were without 4 starting offensive linemen, 2 starting receivers with a bad defense, and the Jets defense it can't stop a nosebleed. But I show value there. The way that I bet the NFL, that would be the side that I would look, but it's not a game that I'm running to bet. The Ravens, it's all about their injuries. Like it's not just Lamar Jackson. I mean, there's an outside chance he plays, and I don't know how the Ravens are going to handle it. Like you're 1-4, but you have a bye coming up, and you're still playing a really good Rams team. So, but do you want to drop to 1-5 versus risking Lamar if he is able to go? If he is able to go, like, but he's definitely not going to be at 100%, and you risk losing him long term. So I don't know how they're going to weigh those options. You also have all the other injuries. You know, your Ronnie Stanley, your Kyle Hamilton, I mean Humphrey and Roquan Smith, your entire defensive line, your corners, like all these guys, a lot of these guys are going to be out. So it's a mess. So if you wanted to like speculative bet on the Ravens plus 7.5 in case Lamar comes back, it would close under 7 for sure. And then if you wanted to, you could just get out of it. But I without knowing the injury report, I can't do anything there. The other one you mentioned was the Raiders.
The Raiders are 4.5-point favorites.
Yeah, it would be Raiders or nothing for me.
Against the Titans.
At 4.5, I could think about the Raiders. I mean, you got to remember the Titans were about to be down 28-6 in that game to the Cardinals, who were beat up and not an elite team, and they had everything go their way. This is still Brian Callahan, who's still 4-20 against the spread. The Raiders have been a mess, but it all starts with their offensive line, and it's caused Geno to be a mess. Geno's been really bad under pressure when he has to throw quick. Like if he has time, is Brock Bowers going to play though? Like Brock Bowers is really, really critical piece to that offense.
What a mishandled injury.
Yeah, very,
So
very
with that.
poorly handled. So, but like the Titans aren't going to take advantage of the Raiders' offensive line. Arden Key also got hurt. Like they just have no edge rush. So yeah, it would be Raiders or nothing. So yeah, again, that's just the nature of how I bet the NFL. I would look at all those teams. The Ravens are just it's too difficult right now to say anything about because of the injury report. But of the 3, I would go Raiders for this week, Raiders, then Jets, then Ravens, ranking in order of interest.
What about you, Kendra? Are you breaking any of them out of bet jail?
No, I'm not breaking any of them out of bet jail yet. I do agree about the injury report. I know it's not an option that I was provided, but if I'm going to look anywhere for like an underdog situation, I'm kind of low key looking at the Browns to cover the 5.5.
So that
I know. I just don't believe in. Yeah.
That might deliver us perfectly to our plant your flag game of the week. I have 2 that I'm deciding between, and the Steelers minus the 5 or 4.5, which you can get it over on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Or the Panthers plus 3.5. I've been teetering. I have bets placed on both, so I guess I'm just going to say that I have 2. I'm planting 2 flags this week. Panthers plus 3.5 at home against the Cowboys. Steelers minus 5 at home against the Browns. This is a terrible spot for the Cleveland Browns. They come back after a trip to London, take on a Steelers team that's been on a bye, and you still have a rookie quarterback who looked all right, but now he's got to go up against the Steelers pass rush in Pittsburgh with the terrible towels waving. I think Aaron Rodgers is really good at getting the ball out of his hands quickly, so he can negate some of that pass rush from Cleveland, and they might get some guys back in this one too. So this feels like
38.5 though. And you think that they're going to cover 5.5. Like that doesn't feel right to me.
I would not bet it past 5, but if you can get it 4.5, sitting right now at DraftKings, I bet it at 5 just because I don't like to lay the -115. I got it -110, but the Steelers would be one. The Panthers are the other. Another schedule spot disaster. The Cowboys, this is their third road game in 4 weeks. And Stuckey, you're gonna love this one because you love my power ratings. I have the I have the Cowboys as 1 point favorites in this game.
What?
Apparently I'm having to relook at the Panthers a little bit, but still, even if I were to bump them up or bump them down, this is still a buy on the Carolina Panthers. You got a Rico Dowdle revenge game, kidding, sort of. The Cowboys do have the worst graded run defense in the NFL, taking on a guy that just rumbled for 200 yards, who used to play for them. CeeDee Lamb might come back in this game. That would push the line to 4.5. So if you want to wait and
Panthers
bet on
undefeated
this,
at home.
and the Panthers are unbeaten at home, Cowboys off of a blowout win. So give me the points. I think that's
We're
a close game.
opposite.
But those are my two plant the flag games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree on the Panthers, but I gotta wait on the injury. Like I make it 2 on the surface. The Cowboys have wins over the Jets and then a miraculous win over Russell Wilson and the Giants. But their run game's been really good, which like the Cardinals, Clay Adams, he went from Arizona to Dallas in the offseason, and their run game has been outstanding. And we were laughing at their coordinator, their coaching, their running back room, and their offensive line's been hurt, and their running game has been really good, and Dak's been amazing. But they were without 4 starting offensive linemen last week. I assume Tyler Smith will be back. Well, the other 3, I don't know. Turpin and Lamb, I don't know. So. Yeah, well, Panthers could get Coker back, which I think could be big. I like some of the things I saw from Jimmy Horn last week. So yeah, at over a field goal, I don't mind that. The spot for the Steelers is great, but am I running to lay points with that team in a divisional game with such a low total? The Browns should be able to run the ball on the Steelers, which is all they want to do, and then short pass to neutralize their pass rush. And they should have success running the ball in Pittsburgh, and Judkins has looked pretty good. So, yeah, the spot screams Steelers, but I'm not running to need them to win by a touchdown plus. So of those two, I think I would prefer Carolina, but a lot of injuries to wait on. I'll plant my flag. I'll go Falcons plus 4.5 at DraftKings on Monday Night Football against the Bills. The Bills right now just are not playing great football, and they've played since the miraculous comeback against the Ravens. They've played a joke of a schedule. When you lose at home to the Patriots, they were at risk of losing to the Saints at home. They were even at risk of losing to the Dolphins at home. Those games were all close. The defense is bad right now. The linebackers who are hurt are bad. Matt Milano looks washed. Ed Oliver, is he going to play? I don't know. But the secondary's not even playing well. The safeties aren't great. The corners aren't playing at a high level. And you can run on Buffalo. Well, that's bad news against Atlanta and their run game with Bijan and Algier. I think Atlanta will be able to move the ball. Atlanta's defense should be healthier. AJ Terrell should come back. Now Josh Allen indoors, he's going to score points. He's Josh Allen. But the one thing you want to do against him, done a lot of work on this, is like you want to blitz him. And if you look at his numbers, just EPA per play, the last 2 years, his numbers are much worse when you blitz him. You can't just sit back, and you can't just sit back or play man. Like he's going to make plays. You have to just bring pressure, and the Falcons are blitzing at one of the highest rates in the NFL, and it's an improved defense. So if they're off the bye, they should be healthier. Like their wide receivers have been dealing with injuries. So yeah, 4.5. I think I'll plant my flag on the Falcons on Monday night. I think that's the game that goes right down to the wire.
I am going to plant my flag on the Patriots -3.5. I think regardless of the fact that it's back-to-back road games for them, it was a Drake May coming out party. I'm hoping that they learn from their mistakes and give Travion Henderson some more time. I don't understand what is going on with that coaching staff and not allowing him to play. People up here are really pissed about it, regardless of the win. I think that they're making a huge mistake with that situation, but they're getting healthier. They're getting better. The Saints have so many injuries. Don't really care that it's at home for them. Spencer Rattler, whatever. I get that people think that he's out kicking his coverage a bit. That's got to end at some point. I'm sure they're going to have some packages for Taysom Hill. But they're just injured, and the Patriots really surprised me this week. I think that they're finally coming together. Whether it's Drake May finally being able to buy in or understand or remember the Josh McDaniels playbook, because it's known for being complicated. And I think that that was probably a big struggle for him in the first few weeks, was just that he wasn't confident or caught up or well rehearsed enough with the Josh McDaniels system to be comfortable. But they won that game the other night. They deserve to win that game the other night. We can talk about the Bills issues that they're having all we want, but they still beat the Bills in Orchard Park in primetime. I think it's a good confidence spot for them. And, they finally got Hunter Henry involved in the pass game. I think that that was huge for them. Stefan looks like he's finally healthy. I think that this is a better spot for the Patriots against a crappy New Orleans Saints team that's injured. Don't care back-to-back road spots, whatever. Give me the Patriots.
The fate of the Patriots has ended.
You're buying high on the Pats.
Who
Now
are you,
all
Kendra?
against the Pats. They beat the Bills. Who I think the Bills
I have
are
the Cowboys and the Patriots this week. Who am I? Help!
Yeah, look, this line is now that it's crossed 3 because the Patriots won and Drake Mays look great. Everyone disrespects the Saints, and the Saints are better than people give them credit for.
Yeah,
What have they
there's
done
some
for me to respect them?
There's some spread covering bastards, is what they are. Okay.
Yeah, I mean they easily could have won in Buffalo if a couple plays break their way. They beat the Giants. They had one game go haywire, and it was in Seattle because of a ton of special teams mistakes. Rattler's playing decently. We'll see how this new Patriots team can handle that's the success. It's a bad spot. Like going down to New Orleans after that huge win in prime time over Buffalo, it screams like sleepy flat spot to me. And I think that there's some opportunities for New Orleans to move the ball, but I have to dig a little deeper onto that one. But yeah, we shall see.
All right, it is time for the main event. Evan Abrams, the director of research over at Action Network, joins us now for the primer. No betting week can start without reading the primer over at actionnetwork.com. Evan, welcome to the show.
What's going on, everybody? I mean, we had to know that the underdog week was coming soon. Everyone had been teasing it, but it finally came upon us.
What were the numbers that you shared on Twitter this morning? 9-5 straight up, was it, for underdogs?
Yeah, crazy. So most outright, 9-5 is right. Most outright wins by dogs in a single week since beginning of 2022. And dogs hadn't gone 9-5 straight up or better in a single week since 2017. So we had been waiting a little while for this. I think the craziest is the fact the Niners, Titans, Patriots, all plus 7.5, all outright. Only a third time last decade we've seen 3 of those dogs come through outright in a single week. I think the interesting thing, which I'll look at and probably have in the article by today, is what happens after those weeks when you see some of these outliers. I'm sure it's not crazy, but I'd be expecting 56, 50, 5% against the spread for favorites, maybe a little bit of a bounce back. But interesting nonetheless in terms of also the line movement this week to see if there's any impact there. But yeah, crazy one.
What is the one item from the primer that's about to drop, if it hasn't already, that stands out to you this week?
I would just say teams off of losses. So Hurts, Mahomes, Josh, Stafford. I mean, how many weeks do you see where all those quarterbacks coming off losses, and the Packers basically not a loss, but a bye off of a tie and a loss. So they're trying to get back on track as well. So some really good teams where I think people are seeing the inevitable. So it's interesting to see how the lines move on that. And also the most fun thing I could say, only 2 QBs with 3-0 ATS or better as a favorite this season, Jared Goff and of course Daniel Jones. So can't wait to see if that continues. But I think that's the fun stuff.
What about the Browns come back over from London? They didn't take the bye week. Do you have anything on teams that have that scheduled disadvantage that don't take the bye after the international travel?
I mean,
We've
honestly,
had some
it's
debates
usually
about the Steelers today.
Honestly, it's usually not a terrible sign. So the in-season bye has done the Steelers well. At least, I think there's a few ways to look at this. There's the in-season bye because Steelers coming off the bye in that one. So I think there's a way to look at it from Tomlin's point of view. But from the Browns returning from London without a bye week, Cleveland will be the 25th team to return back to the States without a bye after playing an international game. 15-9 straight up, 13-11 ATS on a short rest situation. It's not terrible.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. And the Browns will be on the road. Of the 24 previous teams, only one didn't play at home. So Browns also in a unique situation where most of the teams, they send them back home after these road trips out overseas. Browns not in that spot. So a little bit of a unique one, but the play's been decent.
And how many of them are not only not at home, but also facing a team that just came off the bye? That's part of that uniqueness to it.
I mean, what about this? I mean, you'll probably hear this all week, but they've lost 21 straight regular season games in Pittsburgh. So that will be something you'll hear all week, and maybe a little motivation.
Aren't a home bye, the teams at home off of a bye though have been overvalued. That spot's been overvalued for a year. I mean, because in a bye, you don't even practice in a bye week anymore. It's just basically just a week off. Now it helps in the injury front, but do you have that handy? Like home favorites off of a bye? I feel like that spot's been overvalued for the last like 5 years, and they haven't performed well against the spread. I could be off though.
Can confirm
check.
Steelers did not practice this week.
Interesting.
A bunch of people on vacation. Saw some of the girly pops I know with their boyfriends on the road.
Evan, do you have anything on that?
No, I'll put it in the chat. I could look it up quickly.
All right, that'll do it. We have a lot of games that we still have not yet to discuss. 49ers Buccaneers being one of those. How about a 2-touchdown favorite Green Bay Packers taking on the disgusting Cincinnati Bengals? These are all things that we'll get to on Thursday's episode, including our official 2 Kings and a Queen parlay. That's it for today's episode. Special thanks to Evan Abrams. We appreciate it. Go check out the primer. David Payne, Gifford Gould, our producers. The favorites will return on Thursday right here on the Action Network YouTube page for Week 6 Best Bets. We'll see you here next time on the favorites presented by DraftKings. We're out.
Duval.